Awesome. Perfect. Well, guys, welcome to episode 53 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Tonight, we've got updates for the Circuit 2024 event. Adam Dorey is on here, the voice of, Dragon Drive. A lot of Dragon Drive stuff he's doing. I can't wait. He's going full time. We're going to talk about all that stuff. Brian Acton is on Mr. 8500, another perfect pass in the history books. We had Jim Braun on. We've talked to Dustin and Steve Trance on video in the past, and I'm planning to message Steve after this and Dustin both and see when we can get those guys on. And dude, we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's been going on with me and you as we get into this thing. So hit that intro video and let's get this thing kicked off.
We're going to pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
Awesome, dude. I love the intro video. Eric put that together. Guys, if you don't know that, he's awesome, dude. I want to say my name is Mike Narks. I am the host of the Drag Driver Pete Show and the Drag Driver Pete News, which takes off or which happens on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, and the promoter for the Circuit Drag and Drive event, the regional event that happens in a month and a week at Mocan Dragway. I cannot wait for that event. Eric, introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on, dude.
I am Eric White. I co-host both the news and the show. Do graphic design, video editing, artwork, you name it, whatever needs to be done. When I'm not helping here with Drag Driver Pete, I have my own channel, which is 815 LSX Swaps.
Man, and are a busy guy. Well, y'all, let's kick this thing off. I want to ask one favor real quick. Hit the share button as you come in here, please. Y'all, we have a huge show tonight. We can't do this without you guys, our race car friends. Can't do this without you. It's awesome always to see everybody in here making comments, talking, asking questions. And I'm excited about having Adam Dorey on and Brian Acton tonight because I think we're going to have a great show. We're going to have tons of information, and being live, we can actually do you can ask questions right from the chat. So it's going to be really good as we move along here. But guys, we can't do this without you. Thank you to our race car friends that are out there. Thank you to our sponsors that make this possible: Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cams, Performer Built Transmission, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Again, hit that share button as we kick this thing off. All right. If you guys don't know, Summit Racing started as a one-man operation back in 1968, almost 60 years ago. They now have 4 huge retail/warehouse facilities, 200 catalog editions. They are the world's speed shop. Fueling your passion, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service. In 2014, they launched the Summit Racing mobile app, which I hope you've downloaded by now because it gives you easy access to speed parts. Find Summit Racing on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You can also find them on the On All Cylinders podcast if you want to see more automotive discussions like what you're hearing tonight. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. Well, Eric, let's talk updates kind of through the last couple days, because we talked last week on last week's show about the Motor Trend kind of controversy a little bit. Remember, we had a little bit of conversation about that. Of course, with my new day job, I'm going to say I've been listening to a ton of podcasts. I'm listening to the Oil and Whiskey podcast put on by the Roadster Shop the other day, and Ian Johnson of Big Tire Garage is on there talking about all of that stuff. One thing that I found was kind of neat, and I hope, did you have a chance to listen to that little segment today?
Nope, I was out of the building
YouTube
all
is
day today.
well, and Eric has a real job, guys. And while he was real jobbing today and then got home and worked on all of this stuff. So Ian Johnson's talking about it. It's a great setup. We have, do you have the photo for that? Yeah. So be looking for this, the oil and whiskey with the Roadster Shop, guys. That's become one of my, I don't know, I'd say top 5 podcasts that I go to. They put out one every week. Anyways, we won't talk about them anymore. But Discovery purchased Motor Trend. We know we heard all that, but apparently, by what he was saying, Discovery only wanted Roadkill. They wanted the Motor Trend app and one other property. That was it.
Wow.
So they didn't want the magazine. That's so that kind of leads them into this big long conversation of, if the magazine doesn't make any money, will it be cut? Does does that mean events are going to get cut? All this extra stuff. What I found interesting about that is, you hear all of that. He talks about Hot Rod Magazine going quarterly, but last year they did Power Tour West, so they added an event to the schedule.
Yep.
And this is the 20th anniversary, 20th running of Drag Week. And so, later on, a few minutes later, they talk about how surely the legacy brand of Hot Rod will never go away.
I
And
would hope so.
if Discovery didn't want it, surely somehow it could be saved and moved under something else, possibly. I would think something like that. And he was saying that, Road and Track or Motor Trend and Hot Rod are really the only magazines that are being done up. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I just wanted to say there's one way we can help all of this stay alive, and that's to subscribe to Hot Rod Magazine. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to say that.
Right.
They're going quarterly. And Mike Galemi was saying in one of the comments on another post that the first quarterly magazine's been boxed up and it's being shipped. So pretty
Yep.
excited about that stuff. So I was hoping you'd have had a chance to listen to it. It was pretty wild. One thing he does say is that Ian has worked with a lot of people that were at Motor Trend that are now at Hemmings. So
Mm.
it's going to be kind of the next few, he said years, the next 1 or 2 years, we're going to see a lot of changes on that side. So I wonder if Hemmings is like the new up and coming. I mean, not up and coming, but are they taking over a lot of stuff? They have a new podcast, Hot Rod Barbecue with Mike Musto. I listen to that a lot. Everybody's kind of expanding their stuff. So it was a really good episode. You got to check it out if you are a podcast listener. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
have to check that out tomorrow.
yeah, definitely. It's a great listening for sure. And then let's talk about this right here, bud, because this is some personal stuff for me.
Yep.
And we got an update for you on after this. But I'll be helping with at least 6 of the Midwest Drag Racing Series events, which is kind of exciting. Go to the first one next weekend. Dude, I can't believe, like, if I feel like it's taken 6 months to get here, but it really, I mean, I feel like we just ended the season, but it's been 6 months and now we're kicking this thing off. One thing that we're going to do that's really cool is I will actually be helping host a pre-show, like a pre-race live stream. Will be the first time they've done it, and I bugged and bugged and bugged Daniel Green until he said we could do this. So please help me out. Go over and follow the Summit Midwest, follow the Midwest Drag Racing Series on YouTube and Facebook right now, so you can see your boy next week. Because Thursday night we're going live. I don't know what time yet, but we're going to do like race recaps. We're going to talk about, you know, what's coming up, who's at the racetrack, what happened to get them there, point standings. It's a whole point series, obviously, and they are expanding from 6 events to 8 events this year, so a big undertaking for them to take on 2 extra races and add all that in. So please support them because they support me, which in turn allows me to do more drag race stuff, gets me out more, and introduces me to more racers, which you all know means we're bringing more racers into the drag and drive community. Okay,
Yeah.
so please do that. Midwest Drag Racing Series. I'll be there next week, Thursday night. So we're going to be live like our normal show Wednesday night, and then you'll be able to find me again live on Thursday as well.
You gonna be busy, huh?
Busy, busy, busy. Yes, you can follow them on the Midwest Drag Racing Series, YouTube and Facebook.
Sweet. I'm excited. That should be fun. I'll have to make sure I tune in when you go live on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, please. And then what's going on with you, man? You got something new and exciting in here?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned it, I think, on the news show that
Mhm.
the track manager at Byron had reached out, had known that I had some interest in maybe doing some announcing. So he's offering me to go through their track schedule and overlay it with my schedule and see what weekends I can go to Byron and do some announcing there. So in the
Yeah.
next, I'm hoping week or two, I'll be able to pick a few events that I'll be
Mhm.
announcing at. My first thought is start out with a couple testing tunes, just kind of get an understanding
Yeah.
of how everything works with the equipment and all that. And then I think long term, I'd like to get into the Central Illinois Streetcar Shootout, which is done at Byron. They have one guy's garage, obviously, is going to be there, and then maybe even some of their Friday night heads up challenge races. So I have to
Yes.
see what weekends those fall in and see with traveling and, for drag and drive events and birthdays and, everything else that's on our schedule and kind of figure out which weekends I can get down there. So once I have an idea of which events I will be at, then I will update everybody on that. So I'm kind of excited. It's something that
Yep.
we did a little bit together at Midwest Drags, and that was kind of fun. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. And
Yeah,
tonight
I'm really
we have
good.
we have an announcer on tonight, so I'm kind of hoping maybe I can get some tips and what I should do to prepare myself.
Yeah, I bet he'd give you the tip, but just a tip.
I bet he will.
Yeah. Uh, I'm really excited for you to step out of your comfort zone and get into that a little bit.
Yeah,
Obviously we hold mics in our hands or in front of our face every week here, twice a week, but it's way different than calling, this we basically have a script for written down. So I stay on topic, which I'm really bad about. And then but at the race it won't be like that. So it'll be really fun to see you see you grow and go from there. And obviously, we know you're going to be at the circuit, so you'll have an opportunity to get in the tower, be up there with Cliff Parvin, our
yep.
official announcer of that event. You could be like the secondary announcer, man, color commentary, like what Daniel Green says about me at the Midwest Drag Race Series.
Yeah, I'll definitely step up there and give that a shot. I think the
Yeah,
biggest thing is going to be just like we do here. It's the prep work.
yeah,
If you're gonna announce good, you got to do the prep work, which means go talk to the people in the pits, find out information about cars,
yep.
all that stuff. That way, again, you're not just announcing the race. You're giving more information.
That's exactly right. All right. Well, again, I'm excited for you to do that. Let's jump into the next bit here, guys. The Driven Racing Oil event updates. Now, if you don't know, Driven Racing Oil signed up a couple weeks ago, and we're excited to have them on board. We have a full ad read that I did not put in the notes today, but we'll start this Saturday for the news. All right. First up on the event list is Redwood Rally opens to the public this Friday morning at 8 p.m. That's probably
Friday
8
night.
p.m. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Friday night. Um, that's probably 8 p.m. Pacific time because that's where they are is on the West Coast, right?
That would be my guess. It didn't say in the
Yeah.
post, but that was my
So
guess.
so I don't know what time that starts in Central Time. That's probably 10 p.m. and then Eastern Time to be 11 p.m. This is an event. They only have 90 spots available, dude, to the public. This is going to sell out, and it's going to sell out quickly. One thing I really like is we've modeled the U versus U class after what they do with their U versus with their dial your own or whatever class. I can't remember what they call it for themselves, mind over matter. So we've really modeled it after their rules are great. This should be a really, really good event right here.
Yep.
So again, second year for them, and they're going to sell out. I mean, I'm telling you, they're going to sell out within an hour or two. They're going to sell out. 90 spots available. It's going to be great. Heather has done a great job with social media, and Jesse does a great job with all this everything else. But Heather's
Right.
an awesome with the social media leads and things like that. Next up on the list is the circuit, dude. I don't know if y'all have heard this, but I run that one. So there's a lot of really neat things that are happening with the event. I drove the part of the route a couple weeks ago. I'm driving the rest of the route. Now, listen to this. I travel for 2 weekends beginning next week for the Midwest Drag Race Series. So that means I really probably need to drive the rest of the route this weekend sometime.
Yeah, soon.
Honey, if you're watching, guess what? Road trip. So let's run through a couple things. Let's talk about some route stops and daily schedules. Obviously, the night before, we're doing a huge racer pre-party. This has kind of become a thing, right? So a lot of events have, they begin registration the day before and testing. We're not going to do that. We are going to huddle up at Chicken Annie's, which is the best chicken you will ever eat. I will put that on my. I'll put $100 down if somebody has better chicken than Chicken Annie's. We're doing a big buffet. Racers and crew, come on out. It's free dinner. Uh, I don't know if you can bring your own booze, but I know you can buy booze there. So if you enjoy beer with your fried chicken and mashed potatoes and green beans, definitely plan on that. This is going to be a good time. We've rented the lounge, and this place is like it was literally built in the 30s, and then
Yeah,
probably updated in the 50s, and then updated again for the last time in the 70s.
yeah, yeah,
There's a six
100%.
foot there's a 6 foot tall rooster when you walk in,
Yo,
and the super nice lady was talking, and she said, "You can have them come in the side door if you'd like to." And I was like, "Oh, no. No, we need everybody to walk in the front door and see this 6 foot tall, rooster right here, because
oh
that's
yeah,
gonna be the big thing. We're all gonna have to get pictures with the rooster." So,
yep,
that's gonna be a good time, and the first time we've ever done anything like this. Obviously, I like to eat, so food is a big deal, and I feel like if we can kinda set up some times for people to eat together, this will provide an opportunity for people that don't know each other to get to know each other and become friends.
right,
Yep. And then day one, pretty easy stuff. This is pretty straightforward. Gates open at 9. We're at Mocan Dragway. Gates open at 9. We're going to run tech from 10 to 3. If you're not there by 3 o'clock, it's going to be really hard for me to let you in. But we're probably going to do that. But you need to let me know ahead of time. Don't show up at 4 o'clock. I'm here. The driver's meeting is going to be 10:45. Going to be pretty easy, 15, 20 minutes. Just go over kind of the layout of the weekend, things like that. Track is open 11 to 5. Here's the deal. You have to submit 2 passes each day of the event. As we were talking to Gearhead Curios today and yesterday, there were people commenting on those. Those guys have been amazing. They've been talking, they've been sharing all the posts, things like that. And it is, um, they were like, "Oh, we should be there at, because people are wanting to see all of these race cars drive through." So they were planning to set up at like 10 o'clock at Gearhead Curios to watch all these cars come through. And I was like, well, hold on, back up. You can't be there that early, or you're going to be really bored, because with you having to make 2 passes, there's no class calls or anything like that. So with you having to make 2 passes, I said, these folks aren't going to start getting there till 1 o'clock at least if they start racing at 11.
right,
So one thing we do is we do allow hard tires to be run on the track, which I know is kind of a no-no on some other stuff on other events, but we are going to delay the hard tire racers until 2 o'clock each day. So the slick and radial tire cars will run for 3 hours uninterrupted. Hmm. They'll run for I'm sure there'll be interruptions. They'll run for 3 hours with no hard tires allowed. And then we'll open both lanes to hard tire cars. So if you have a hard tire car, you can still come. We welcome you, all that kind of stuff, but you're going to have to wait just a little bit. And then we're leaving there. We're going to pack up. I'll probably skip I'll skip Gearhead Curios racers and participants. You cannot skip Gearhead Curios, because we're going to drive to Galena, Kansas, and then we're going to jump in and we're going to drive to Boots Court. So this is Gearhead Curios. You've got to get over and see this place. Plan to hang out here for a little bit. Look through the store, a lot of really cool stuff. Bring a dollar bill with you, sign it where you're from, and put it on the back wall of the shop. Pretty neat deal. And then Boots Court Motel, second oldest motel on Route 66. This is a neat spot. This is a spot that I feel like we can probably put 70 or 80 cars in pretty easy. And this is only about 25 or 30 miles from Galena, from Gearhead Curios, but it took me 90 minutes to get here because there's so much cool stuff. In April, we should have daylight until about 7 o'clock. So you'll have plenty of time, but I'm telling you, don't wait till the last minute to make your second pass. Now, some folks will have to, but let's get this. Let's get on the road. Let's have some fun. This is a spot we can hang out. I'm going to have somebody run up and grab some ice creams and drinks and stuff and take it over there. for them to get set up. I've already talked to Jeremy, the manager of the Boots Court, and the old the old Sunoco station that was next door. It has been converted to a visitor center. So they're doing all kinds of upgrades, getting ready for the 2024 season. And we're going to be one of the first events that's going to be able to use all of the updates that the Boots Court Motel is putting in. I'm really pumped about this. This is going to be a really, really cool event. And this is going to be a great stop. There are carports. I know y'all can't see my finger here, but I'm pointing at the carports that are going down through there. Do not do burnouts at the carport. Do not. Don't. I know you're going to want to. Do not. Those are motel rooms that people will be sleeping in, and we will get kicked out in a heartbeat. And we don't want to do that because this will not be the last time we stop at the Boots Court. So, anyways, this is a spot we're going to hang out for a little bit. From here, we're about 50 miles from the Rail Haven, which is our third route stop and our host hotel for Friday night. This I got to know. This place is booked solid for the night. We have literally filled every room in this place is going to be a hot rodder from the circuit. Like, how cool is that? It's so awesome. Get on
Yeah.
the wait list, talk to the team over there, get on the wait list for when people fall out. But I got to know who got the Elvis suite. Who has it, dude? Because I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I didn't get it because I wanted somebody else to have that. But it's really cool. Huge. Obviously, this is updated the last time in the 50s. As far as the expansion, now they've updated it since then to be more accommodating for all of us. But this is going to be one of the coolest stops in any drag and drive that's out there for anywhere, anytime. I don't care. It's going to be so freaking cool to walk out in the parking lot. And there's 70 cars, 70 hot rods right there in the parking lot of this place with all the photographers we have on deck for this event and the local news and everything I've been reaching out to y'all. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a crazy, crazy deal. So that's the first night. That's the route stops for the first day. They get better, I promise.
Hold on. Whoever has that Elvis room, if we don't get an invite to come see the room, I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh,
Just
listen,
saying.
we'll just go talk to the manager and get the key. You got to see this place, right? So, yeah, that's going to be a good one. Then we wake up Saturday morning, and guys, our first stop. This isn't like an official route stop. Actually, you know what? Yes, it is. This is an official route stop. The Waffle House on East Sunshine in Springfield. I don't know if y'all know this, but Driven Racing Oil is giving $250 for breakfast for people. 250
Yeah.
bucks. Then, after that runs out, another $100 is given from Waffle House. Thank you so much to William, the regional manager, for doing that. So we have $350 worth of food that we're going to be eating at Waffle House for free. How cool is that, man? I love it that everybody's getting involved in this. And y'all know my affinity with Waffle House. I love it. I think it truly is one of the greatest places to eat, especially on a drag and drive. I don't typically take my family there, but if I'm eating by myself somewhere, this is a spot you can go. The menu is the same everywhere. All the stuff. This is just the right place. And I want to say thank you to the team at Waffle House for making this a possibility.
Yep. That's going to be fun.
Oh
And
yeah,
I and I went to my first Waffle House on a drag and drive event with you.
that's
'Cause
right. That's
we
right.
we don't have any of those around by me.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother reason for people to go is because you don't typically think, "Hey, I'm going to go in there." I've never had a chair thrown at me, but I've also been in there typically in the good hours of the day.
Right.
So let's run through this real quick. I do want to talk about the day 2 of racing. This is a big deal. We are only racing 8th mile at Ozark. Here's how this works. All classes that are all quarter mile classes will be based on a multiplication calculator or multiplication formula of 1.545. So if you are trying to, for you versus you, well, the you versus you is different. Let's see. For if you're trying to set your quickest average, whatever your ET is at Ozark, I'm going to multiply it times 1.545. Okay, if you have questions, ask those in the chat, ask those in the comments. I'll get back to those. And if you're not on the circuit page, definitely do that and ask them over there. The 850 class, this is important because that's my favorite class, the street race power rider class. For that class, your goal is going to be at 5.500. You will not be able to submit anything faster than 5.5. 5.500. Okay, that's it. That's all you can do. Then the U versus U, we are going to take your quarter mile and eighth mile from your quickest time slip on day one. So your eighth mile time is going to be what we set the difference in for, because we're going to add all those differences up. We're taking that from your eighth mile time from day one. Your quickest eighth mile time will set your goal time for day two at Ozark. Again, we'll go over all this. I'm going to put all that on the page and all that kind of stuff. What's the team at Gearhead here saying?
This is going to be a great event. So happy to be a part of it. If you can, get pics of your car in front of the tag flag.
Oh,
169 Kansas license plates that create an American flag. I saw this last year. It is
yeah.
awesome. It's on the west side of Gearhead Curios. I am looking forward to seeing everyone in April.
Yeah, it's going to be great. This is a really, really cool place. I'm telling you guys, we missed the opportunity going there last year. We're not going to make that mistake again. We may always hit Gearhead Curios just because they've been such a huge supporter of the event, even since even before that. So we talked about you versus you. We talked about the 5.500 for the 850 class racers. Driver meeting again, day two, 10:45. We're going to do a driver meeting every day. I've picked that idea up from Devin Vanderhoof at Southeast Street and Eat. I love that thought process because it gives you an opportunity to go over the track because we're at a new track. A lot of these tracks nobody's ever raced at. So it kind of gives us an opportunity to tell you where the shutdowns are, where the turnoffs are, what the schedule for the day is, and where we're going from there. Again, racing begins at 11, hard tire come in at 2. And then from there, once you turn your time slip in, that's when you get your scavenger hunt sheet. The
Yep.
Great American or Great Apparel Printing and Design Scavenger Hunt. This is going to be one of the funnest events, one of the funnest things that you've ever done within a drag and drive. I promise you, it's crazy. I
Yeah.
wanted to
Last year
limit.
was a big hit.
Oh yeah, I wanted to limit the time that you could do it. So here's the strategy, right? There's 80 items on this list. Some of these it's going to be very difficult to get. There's 80 items on this list. I'm adding to it every couple days as I think of stuff. Do you It's going to be a lot of strategy here. Do you make your passes early and get your scavenger hunt and then bounce, or do you wait and make your best pass but then maybe lay back a little bit and not have as many points as somebody that left early on your scavenger hunt? What's the plan? What are you going to do? Because the winner um of the scavenger hunt gets $350.
Yeah.
We're
That's
awarding those
impressive.
at the racer party. Second place gets $150. So it should be a pretty good time. We are going to see probably some people get really creative with a lot of these things. There's a lot of really fun ways to get there. And of course, we're going to do the racer party after racing. So 5 o'clock racing ends, 6 o'clock, the racer party kicks off in Branson, Missouri at Extreme Go-Kart Racing. We did that with Tom with like what was it called? Sick Carts or something like that at PRI.
Yep. Yep.
That sealed it for me, dude. I was like, yeah, we got to do golf. We got to do go-karts.
Yeah. Sick cart chaos. That
Yep.
was a
So
blast.
right, I went to Branson. I literally found the fastest carts that are in Branson, Missouri. We've rented the entire place. We're going to race and we're going to have fun. I'm going to bring some drinks in big coolers and we're just going to have a good time. We're going to probably order a ton of pizzas and some barbecue or something like that. And this is going to be again an opportunity for people to just hang out and get to know each other, talk about cars, all that kind of stuff. And the hotel we're staying at that night is 400 feet from the racetrack. So it should be pretty easy if people like to indulge in adult beverages to get back home. That was or get to the hotel. That was our biggest thing. We didn't want folks to go very far. So if you are racing, if you are in a hot rod and you're staying at a hotel that is not the host hotel for Saturday night, let us know. We may be running some kind of shuttle or something to another hotel that's going to be close because we do not want people to get in trouble in their hot rods. Okay?
Yeah.
Do not get in trouble in your hot rod.
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
have a minivan, so that should be able to work out good.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be well, I mean, you're gonna be flagging go-kart racing, so you're not gonna be able to run them back and forth, but somebody there will be able to run them back and forth. And then
So
as we leave Branson Sunday morning, we're gonna go back up to Route 66 and we're gonna go left and we're gonna head to Mocan and we're gonna hit the Gary's Gay Parita service station. That's one of the coolest places you're ever gonna see on Route 66, and then the Route 66 drive-in in Carthage, Missouri. So going to be a great time. A lot of historical stuff right there in those 6 spots. There's been a ton of people eat at the Waffle House. I promise you. A lot of historical stuff there, and we're just going to have a blast. The circuit is going to be absolutely nuts, man.
yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. Do
Yep.
you have a time that they got to turn the scavenger hunt slips in, or is that
Ah,
something we'll go over by at the event?
great point. Yes, we'll go over it at the event there, but also your times have your sheets with your points and your pictures have to be turned in by 7 p.m. because we're going to do the awards at 7:30 for that. So
Okay.
that way, if folks want to head back towards Mocan, they'll have plenty of time overnight to do that. So 7:30, we're doing the award. You have to be at least in line, standing there with your points and pictures at 7 p.m.
Is there times on these go karts? Do we got lap times?
No, no lap times, dude. I was trying, man. I was trying. There's just not that kind of technology in Branson, Missouri yet. So for the 2025 event, the go-karts we have found do have times.
Okay.
S That should tell people kind of maybe some ideas of where we're headed for 2025.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find other ways to create challenges for the go karts. We're
Uh,
car
I
guys. We'll figure out something.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I don't know, we're gonna go over some really good ideas. We've got a month and a week, so we're gonna figure some stuff out for sure, but we will
Yep.
definitely have some kind of fastest or some kind of trophy or something as we get through the night.
Yeah. Whoever crashes the most times,
I mean,
there's going to be somebody
most
that
spin out
crashes.
listen, there's a corner where when it was dry, these dudes were sliding. I think I'm just gonna put the cooler above that corner and just dump, that'll be where we dump the water, and so it'll just ruin everybody's chances, so it's gonna be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We have the whole place to ourselves, so there's not gonna be anybody there except us idiots
And that goes until 10 p.m.
till 10. Yep, yep, and then we'll just ease on over 400 feet to the hotel and parking lot beers and well,
No trailer burnouts
no
this
trailer
time.
burnout. No, no, especially not if you've had adult beverages. We don't need anybody getting in trouble. So, all right, well, let's move on to the next segment here because I've gone obviously a little long. We want to bring Adam on here pretty quick.
Yep.
All right, lead us in, man.
All right, we're going to get into the Howard's Cam community segment. So Howard's Cam is the official valve train for Drag Drive Repeat. Luke B and the team are ready and waiting to talk valve train with you. Howardscams.com or reach out to Luke B himself. So a couple things that we found this week. Did you see this vehicle for
Uh,
sale?
yeah, yeah.
Aaron Johnson, his G Body Malibu is up for sale. It's kind of hard to see down there, but that is 18,000 bucks. I got to take a look at this car at one guy's garage last year here in Byron, so pretty cool car. Again, this is just a community segment, so we're bringing info of things going on within the community. I came across this and thought this was pretty interesting. So if anybody's looking to get
Hmm.
into a drag and drive vehicle, this one's already been proven and ready to go.
Yeah, I feel like this is a pretty good deal too. 18,000. So,
Yep. And then this just happened last night. This was pretty awesome. You were kind of part of this, so if you want to go ahead and go
yeah,
over what happened here.
yeah. So Felicia Smith is one of the coolest people you'll ever meet ever in your whole life. She races obviously an 8-second CTSV. Super cool lady, right? She won the Summit Racing free pass, free entry in the drawing we did because she was on the wait list. She didn't get in time. She attended a school called CTech, which is obviously like a VOTech type school where she learned automotive and things like that in the way a real car guy would. You would stay in touch with your shop teacher, right?
Right?
So she did that. They found out we were racing just south of where this school is in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Said, "Hey, we'd like to bring some of the kids over. we're trying to put a budget together, trying to do that, trying to get the school to pay for the field trip and all that kind of stuff. So she made this post. She reached out to me, said, "Is this okay?" I was like, "Yes." I said, "Whatever you got to do, we'll get these kids in." There's 24 kids in the class. Obviously, it's $20 a head to get into MoCan. She makes this post, and I'm telling you, the outpouring was amazing, dude.
Yes.
I don't think it took 8 minutes.
No.
Somebody saw it. One anonymous person paid for all the kids to get into the thing. So we'll have 24 kids that'll come to the event for free because of this person. Thank you so much, whoever that was. That's so amazing. And she's requested if you're going to be in town early, that you swing by and show your car off, talk to these kids about the car and what you do and how you built the car and all that kind of stuff. You can do it right there at the school. Again, it's CTEC CTEC in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Want to give a huge shout out to her, to Felicia for doing this, and to the school for even thinking of something like this. This is really, really a cool idea. And then the kids will be there on Friday for sure. We know they will be because it's a field trip for the school, and then we know they're probably going to come back on Sunday, dude. How can they not?
Right.
So again, of those 24 kids, I almost guarantee we're going to see another. There's going to be another drag and drive racer come out of that many kids for sure.
Right. And
Yep,
I am going to put together a package for each one of the students. So they will be getting an 815 LSX Swaps keychain and a sticker for each one of those students. So since
that's
somebody had
awesome.
already went ahead and paid for everything, I didn't have an opportunity to help with that. So I figured this is a cool way for them to not only get to come to an event and get to hang out for the day. I mean, I wish I could have got to go to a drag and
Oh,
drive event while I was in my shop class. So that's a cool opportunity. But then just to go home with something that they can look at and remember this event this day.
yep, it's going to be really neat. And thank her again for doing that. All right,
Yep, absolutely.
what do you got up here next? What's next? Oh,
Uh, yeah, our buddy here, Mr. Rich Guido, was on the Cooper Bogetti podcast. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to this one or not yet.
dude, I listened to it twice.
Did you?
It's a great one, man. They talk about all kinds of cool stuff. Uh, Coop's done a great job with the podcast. Lots of really great conversations, but this is definitely one of my favorites.
Yep.
This Rich is such a great person for Drag and Drive, but also for all the stuff he talks about within this podcast. It's cool. Bogetti Studios. If you're a podcast listener like I am, definitely got to get on there and listen to all that stuff.
Yep.
It's amazing. Great episode.
Yeah, we're not going to go too deep into it just because we're trying to move along here. But if you haven't listened to it, head over
Yep.
and check that out. And then another one that just popped up. I don't know if you got a chance to see this, but Jared had just posted this before the show tonight that he has started up a new video series called Behind the Wheel. And essentially, this is a podcast while driving. So
Hmm.
what he put was, I bring someone on, we drive each other's cars and talk about life, cars, and shop. It's a podcast while driving, essentially. So he dropped the first episode already. You can head over to his YouTube channel and check that out. So
Yep.
it's just incredible with the number of automotive podcasts that we've been getting lately. There's plenty of room for all of these podcasts. So
Yep.
just add this one to your list as well as another automotive podcast to go check out.
Well, and I think this is really a cool way to do it because he knows so many people from different parts of the community, drag and drive and high end cars and Supra folks and all that stuff. And so he knows so many different styles of people that it's going to be really, really cool to see what he has come through with that. And again, you find that on J Rod's Garage. I would assume. I haven't seen the episode yet, but I'll be watching it tonight.
Yeah, I think it just came out this evening. So
Perfect.
all right, moving on. We want to thank another one of our sponsors, Molly Motorsports. Attention high performance enthusiasts and sportsman class racers. Meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for power packed performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improved temperature stability, or 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevy to Volkswagen and Audi, they've got you covered. What sets them apart? It's forged pistons, graphite coating, and phosphate treatment for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsports, where performance meets precision. Unleash the power within. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. Again, Molly is spelt Mahle.
Dude, awesome. You're doing great at that. All right, let me introduce our next guest here because or our first guest, not our first guest for tonight, Mr. Adam Dorey, the voice of Rocky Mountain Race Week. Y'all, I'm going to give you just a quick synopsis here. Adam's the coolest dude you'll ever meet. I don't know if he knows that, but he is. I love it. I love the conversation we're going to have tonight. Him being, I literally messaged him yesterday. He made a big post yesterday or day before about changes in his life, and y'all, he's going full time.
Yep.
I love this for him. I know it's probably a little scary, but I love this for him because this truly is who he is. I feel like in my heart. There's some folks that are announcers because that's what they got an opportunity to do. I feel like Adam is called to do this, and this is only going to expand. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that he's got going on. So let's bring on Mr. Adam Dorey right now and say good evening, sir. How are you?
Hello. Yes, I am awake. I've been listening. I'm also looking for a head gasket set for a Honda Civic because I need to make money where I can make money. So I'm buying a Civic to flip. So, but it needs a head gasket. So in the middle of listening to everything here, I was finding myself a head gasket set for a D16 A6 1990 Honda Civic wagon 4-wheel drive. Very nice.
Wow.
Dude, what? Now that's a cool rig. That's a cool
It's
rig.
a cool rig. And honestly, I'm picking it up because it's worth the 4-wheel drive stuff. You can put them in a regular Civic or a CRX or anything like that. And they're worth some good money. But I may, it's clean enough. I may just put it together and have it perpetually for sale for a lot of money and DoorDash with it.
Well, I was going to say that, and then you have some friends that are kind of into that Honda all-wheel
Yep.
drive stuff. So, you could probably at any time call those dudes, and they would just be like, "Hey, yeah, we'll take it."
No, exactly. But no, it's this is super cool. Like you touched on, I'm going full time here. It is scary as can be,
Yep.
and really, it's just the timing is kind of right that
Yep.
I've got enough stuff, or I had enough stuff, sort of on my plate prior to me getting canned, that I can add a few more things, and
Yep.
like we were sort of talking beforehand. I won't be rich, but I won't be poor. So
Yep.
that's good enough for me. Like I don't really
Right.
care as long as I've got enough sort of coming in to cover my bills. I've got a little bit of extra to kind of put away for a rainy day, and whatever. That's fine. But it is it's been quite a week for sure. And
Yeah, that's for sure.
going from a corporate guy with a side gig sort of to like now I'm this close to homeless and this close to unemployed, but at the same
Dude,
time, like
you're not that
I'm
close
good.
to homeless.
No, I'm not. I'm really not that. But no, it's been it's really the timing couldn't be better.
Yep.
And I was able to. It was funny because Luke with Sick the Mag reached out
Mhm.
and said, what do you think about Sick Summer? And I was like, I just don't know about the time off of work. Like,
Yeah.
let me dip my toes into that, and I'll let you know. And
Yeah.
that was I believe that was on a Thursday. I got canned on a Friday, so I got with him Friday afternoon and said, well, I'm in
Yep.
for Sick Summer, so I'll be at Sick Summer.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah, which is super cool, and I got to give a big shout out to Matt Frost. Matt gave me my kind of reintroduction into announcing and in the drag and drive kind of world with that, and turning it into a lucrative thing for me.
Yeah.
But
But
when
hang
this
on,
happened,
let's tell that story just real quick because it's really cool. Like you essentially went live for like 2 hours on Facebook walking the pits, and
yeah,
Matt saw it and was like, I think that dude could do this.
right, no, exactly. So I did this. I announced for the very first time in 2009 or 2010. I was kind of recently right out of the army. I was going to college. I have an English degree, which
Cool.
I mean, hey, all right, I should be a high school or middle school English teacher. Okay. And Aaron Roberts says that I don't have my unemployed beard. I'd shaved. It drives me crazy. I can't do it. It's my army time. I just can't. But Anyway, so I announced for a summer at a little track in Wyoming called Douglas Motorsports Park. It was the only racetrack in Wyoming.
Wow.
It was about 6 hours from my house, and I made minimum wage, but it was something that was cool to do. Like it was going to, it was like I just want to be around my people.
Yeah.
And I did it for a year, and I was like, great, whatever. And I didn't do it again until 2020.
Wow.
So I did. I was walking around in the pits 2019 at Julesburg, and it was I was doing it, and I just happened to come across Kyle Loftus from 1320 doing the exact same thing. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm done now. I had like 20 viewers, and he had like 120. So I was just like, okay, well, you got this, dude. And he was like, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Like we all started somewhere, so. That the 20 or whatever so odd people that are watching you are not watching me.
Mm-hmm.
So give them your perspective. So, so basically, it came down to, and on top of that, I run the social media. So I do the RMRWers page. That's a unapologetic ripoff of the Drag Weekers page. The Drag Weekers page is you have to be on Drag Week or have been to a Drag Week to be on the page. So if you look for it and you try to get in, they're not going to let you in. They've tightened that up. I built the RMRWers page as a let's build Rocky Mountain Race Week. And at the time, it was I started it when we started. There were 70 racers. So we had like 100 people the first couple of years, and that was it. And now it's like it's a machine. It's got 10,000 people on it. It's like it sort of has become a bit of a mecca for drag and drive. But in 2020, we have a live stream because Bang Shift has people sitting at home doing nothing, and we need an announcer. We can't just have track announcers. So who are we going to have? And I said,
you were the call.
I said, let's go. And especially that first year, that first race week, I'm not. I still say that I'm not really an announcer. I'm not that guy. And like Cliff Parvin is the kind of the key. Like he makes fun of the announcer, and I love that because it's Sunday. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you only need the age. Kind of guy. It's so cool not being that guy. That guy exists, and he's out there, but it's entertainment. I mean, and we were talking before that, like what we're doing is entertainment here. And so, yes, it's got to be entertaining, but at the same time, like if you've got a little bit of background on somebody, you can talk intelligently about those people. It's a whole different thing than here's this guy and he's got a Chevelle and it ran 1050. What's cool is here's this guy. He's from Colorado. He drove the Chevelle from Colorado. It goes 1050, and he had the cam and shit out of it. Sorry, stuff out of it last night. So, like that's what adds the additional to, to the minute you get to talk about that guy. And, I just, knowing a little bit of background, built my announcing kind of chops. And it's been good.
And being so involved within the community like that at that event, you are not. A lot of times I've seen where announcers show up, they call the show and they leave. Dude, that's never been what Adam Dorey's been about that I can tell or see of any event that I've been at where you're at.
Never.
You're always telling more of the story, which is great. And that's obviously whenever I know when Eric goes to call races at Byron and whenever I'm offered the microphone at any place that I'm at, that's the whole goal is to tell a lot more of that story. Like with Midwest Drags, I told you this earlier, Midwest Drag Race Series, I'm offered, I'm color commentary. I'm not even like, I'm not calling the race. I'm telling about who's the wife of that dude and, going down. So.
Right. Yeah, he's had the car for 35 years and he got it from his grandfather. And those are the stories that you can tell.
Yeah. And for you, Eric, for going to Byron, it's really the biggest thing for me is stand in tech and talk to people while they're getting their car teched.
That's a good idea.
They're typically kind of like, trying to pay attention to the tech guy and make sure he's not going to catch the thing that isn't going to pass tech because everyone's got one thing probably.
Right.
But if you kind of take his mind off of that and the tech guy can kind of just do his thing and you can just sort of rap about it a little bit and just a couple of things, just a couple of little tidbits is all you need. And typically a pair is going to take a minute. So burnout to race to turn off the top end is 1 minute. You can fill about 20 seconds of that with the dude's name and what kind of car he is in each lane. You have 10 seconds of here's the guy's name, here's the car. What you do with the rest of the 40 seconds is kind of up to you. And so if you can fill 10 seconds here with this and 10 seconds here with this, and then read the times, then you're good. So really it's 10 seconds is what you need per dude per pass. And that's it. And so if you have a minute worth of talking points for each person, they can make 6 passes that night and you can tell them something different each time.
Yes.
So it doesn't take a ton because it's just, here's this guy. He's doing his burnout in the right lane. It's Rich Guido. He's got a 65 GTO. He's against Bill Armstrong. He's got a 66 Fairlane. And they're both stick shift cars. Like, okay, that's 10 seconds. Like you're 1/6 of the way there. And you don't really need to talk about them turning off the top end of the racetrack. So once they get a time slip, then you can read times. That takes 10 seconds. So it's what you do in the middle. And if you've got, like I said, if you've got 6 things to talk about, you filled 60 seconds, they can make 6 passes. It's good. And that can be, and even if it's not with them, it can be something with their car or, and you'll see a lot, especially if you're dealing with bracket race type stuff and dragsters and things like that. Like there's a lot of, a rear engine dragster. You can, if you want to get really wicked, you can get into, Don Garlitz and why the rear engine dragster exists. And it's safer and it's got more, it's better for a dragster to have the engine where the drive wheels are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a ton of that. And you'll figure out your audience and what they like. And the biggest thing is that no matter what, you're going to have critics. The goal is to have more people that like you than don't. And then the odds are good that you'll get invited back the next time. Because if 51 people like you and 49 people don't, then 51 beats 49 in every world I've been in. So and then if you can whittle 1 or 2 per event and get them back, then you're in good shape. But that's there will be critics, and that's especially as the new guy and especially a new voice, because they're only hearing one part of you. They don't see you. They can't see what's going on. They have no, you're just in their ears. And there's just a lot to it that like they might just be like oblivious to what's going on. But then when you hear attention in the pits, they're like, wait a second, are they calling my class? Don't stop.
That's all they care about. That's all.
That's all they care about. Really, you're talking to the people that are in the stands watching, and you're talking to the drivers' girlfriends, wives, family that happen to be there. The drivers themselves give 2 flying craps about what you're saying until you say attention to the pits,
right?
And then they're like, are they calling us to the lanes? So that would be it. Stand at tech, get a half a dozen things that you can talk about with people. And then learn cars from the vantage point that you're going to be looking at cars from. Towers are always on the side or behind the racetrack. You can't get the front of a car, and my whole world has always been the front of a car. I can tell a car by the front of a car. Now I have to tell a car by the taillights. And that's a whole different thing, especially when it's at night.
It's like a Oldsmobile compared to a Buick. Like you gotta know that stuff.
Right, exactly. And you will find that a lot of the really good computer operators will put a lot of information in there for you. So it'll pop up on the screen, easy peasy, no problem. But drag and drive type stuff, we don't do that. We don't have time for that. It takes like an hour to do. When we show up, we're going. Like it ain't happening. So I announce off of a spreadsheet for all of my drag and drive type stuff, and Derek Putnam does the same now as well. I kind of taught him the way. But if you get a good computer person, and be nice to your computer people, because they are your biggest proponent up in that tower to help you out.
Right.
So make friends with them. bring them stuff. And,
yeah, snacks.
and then
Those
they'll be
people
like,
type
oh,
all day like this.
right, right, exactly.
Ah!
Well, and you can tell them too, like, and they're not perfect. They'll get a wrong car number or something like that, and whatever. And of course, that's the time that someone will care, and they'll step up to
Right.
the tower and tell you what a terrible job you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then that's the other thing. And I got this from Derek Putnam. Invite people to your tower if you're screwing their name up.
Okay.
Just tell them you're not going to, I may tell you 1 second, give me a moment, but like, I want to do this as well as you want me to do it. So like, please come tell me if I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise I'm going to do it wrong all night and you're just going to be mad at me. So
Right.
take a second, welcome them to the tower. And a lot of racers have never even been to the tower.
Yeah.
So it might actually be kind of a cool thing for them to kind of see the background anyway.
Yeah.
And then they can tell you, I'm sorry, my name has either 7 vowels or 14 consonants, but none of the other. And and then you kind of make a friend from there forward because you're actually making an actual effort to do it right.
Yeah, I figured that would be something I would probably try to write down during tech too. Like if there's a name and I'm like, I have no idea how to pronounce this, just like when you Google a word and it gives you the pronunciation, I'm probably going to write it down in some way that I can remember it.
Yeah, and ask them.
Christophery.
Yeah, ask them to say it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's the easiest way.
And if they've got a weird name, they know it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. But it's all good. You can, and have them say it to you a few times. Rick Flatus. I'm sorry, Fletus.
Yeah.
Is one for me. For some reason it's 5 letters. I could never get it right. I said
it's not Fleet.
I said Fleets. I said Fleeties. I all types of stuff. And I said, dude, just say your name for me 3 times.
Yeah.
And then I still messed it up. But eventually, when I would see him, and it would just be like breakfast. Like, dude, tell me your name one more time.
Again,
like, say it for me 3 times.
That's another reason to eat together. All right, let's enough tips. We can talk tips after this. Let's talk about what you got going on, some gigs for you this year, and then obviously where you're sitting at right now. We got to talk about the podcast.
Got it. Okay. So my podcast is called That's Cool Drink. I do a live stream. You can find I've got a page on Facebook. That's Cool Drink. It's on my YouTube at Adam Dorey. You can also navigate to it from 556 FMJ. And that's I do it every Tuesday. It's super cool. I've had Mike on and his brother. It's drag and drive centric. It's all sorts of drivers and drivers' wives and families and all sorts of cool stuff. It's a very, very fun deal. I enjoy it a lot. It sometimes goes way too long, but enjoy that. You're welcome.
Here's the thing. Like, as I listen to podcasts, there's very few drag and drive centric podcasts that are out there that do what you do. And I do. That's what I love it. Yours is one of the ones I listen to, a top 5 all the time. I'm always looking for it because you have a great way on the mic, but the guests that you have are great too. You had Clint Sadowski. Who'd you have last night?
I had Mark Barnes and Mackenzie O'Neill. Mark's got the fastest, world's quickest limo.
Yep.
And so it's super cool. And obviously that's on the podcast platform as well. So I've got it on Blueberry, and they simulcast to wherever you get podcasts. I'm catching up on that though, because I have a data limit. So I just upload them as I get them, as I get data limits. And now that I don't have a job that's going to hinder that more, I was going to buy more data, and now I'm like, well, I got to pay my rent. So,
so what you're saying is you need some sponsors.
Eventually, that's kind of the plan. I'm gonna start pushing a little sponsor action on my podcast. I've kind of been unapologetically non-sponsored, so that I can say what I want, when I want, how I want. But money's good too, so I might look at doing that.
Well, we listen. We want you to survive and keep doing that. That's the whole thing. Maybe a Patreon or a membership deal is a good way for Adam Dorey.
Maybe we'll work it out. Plus, I'll have my OnlyFans out soon.
Yeah, feet stuff, man.
It's gonna be Mike Honcho.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's talk about gigs you have coming up. Where are you going to be? Where can we find you this year? I know we were talking before the show, dude. You've since you made the announcement that you're going full time, you've had an outpouring of love from the community. So tell us what's going on.
Totally. I've nailed down King of the Open Road. So I'm going to be on with J Rod and those boys, and I'll be on the mic for that. I've also knocked down Six Summer, so I'll be on Six Summer, which I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
And obviously both the Race Week franchises. The Mod Nationals is one that I've done for a couple of years here straight. That's Veterans Day weekend. I've got one next week that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about just yet.
Cool.
But it's a YouTube dude, and
Cool.
it's one that I set up before this happened. So
Nice.
got that done, and I'm also going to be at the Freedom 500.
Awesome.
So that is going to be super cool. The Freedom Plus gang are folks that I worked with at Sick Week, and they hired me to bring me on to the Freedom 500. That's April 5th and 6th. And then I've got penciled in the Indy 800 and the New England 900 out of the Cletus stables as well. That's that's moving forward, May and something else. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm basically going to use Freedom 500 as a resume for those cats to try to nail down those other two big races of his.
Oh, dude, that'll be so cool. Well, congratulations to you on that. That's awesome.
Totally. And I also knocked down the fastest streetcar shootout reunion that the Havlicks are putting on in Iowa. So I've got that coming as well. So lots of cool stuff. And I'm not going to do 666. Unfortunately, that just it's not going to fall into place to be able to do that one. Those kind of one-off races for them, I think, are relatively small. And we were talking before this. I charge a lot, and I just do because I'm trying to make a living at this. So and unfortunately for the 666, it is not going to be in the cards. Street and Yeet is not going to happen because Mod Nationals is that same weekend.
Oh, okay.
And I've been there for 3 years, so that's one I would love to do. And Laura has reached out to me, so I would love to do that at some point. It just always lands on the Mod Nationals, and they're kind of in the same neck of the woods too. But it is what it is. Miles of Mayhem, I have not been even asked about. I haven't reached out about it. I doubt it, to be 100% honest with you. Right now, I've got some stuff in pencil. We're working on a few things, higher end races.
Sweet.
So we'll see what I can come up with. And, I have been talking with some folks at Midwest Drag Racing Series as well. So hopefully you can be the color commentator and I can be doing a little bit of extra with that as well. But that's what I've nailed down so far. I do have probably 6 other really, really attractive jobs that are out there in pencil. And honestly, I think like Tom Bailey told me once, and I told you before, when he asked me to come to Sick Week, I gave him my price, and he left me on red for a day, and then told me that I needed to have loans get with me to get me my agent's number, because I was charging more than loans by quite a bit.
Well, now here's one. I thought about this a while ago. Here's the deal. Loans probably does drag and drop stuff for fun. Like, he has NHRA to make all his
he works for Fox, dude. I mean,
so like
Fox has got some money, and he has a little bit of fun. I mean, it's like his hat money. So I'm paying my effing bills with this, and I'm trying to feed my family and my dog and whatnot. So I'm not the cheapest, and I'm never going to be the cheapest, but we're selling entertainment, and this is top tier stuff. And I've got literally hundreds of hours of resume online. You can look up all the race weeks on YouTube on Bang Shift. You can talk to promoters, and I would be happy to get you their numbers that I work with currently. And this is not a garden variety announcer. I'm doing lots and lots of different stuff. I do it on camera. I can do it off camera. I can do it for 8 hours a day for a week straight at a high level. I can do it for 3 days at a high level. I can do it for 1 day at an extremely high level.
Yeah.
So it's a different thing. Yes, I'm more money, but again, but when you get to the end of it, it's value added, in my opinion, and I've got people that will vouch for that from start to finish.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Again, I can't say it enough. I love you. I love the energy you bring to that stuff. And for a lot of folks, you got to understand he's doing this after driving 300 miles, gets on the mic for 6, 8 hours, and does that for 5 days.
Right, right. And I am typically the first-ish person to the racetrack, and I'm the
Mhm.
last-ish person to leave. I do it on a little bit of food, I do it on a little bit of sleep, and I do it on a little bit of fluids, and it's just it is what it is, and I've worked it out because I've started it in the worst kind of conditions, and you can put me in anything. Like I can
Yep.
make it happen. So,
Yep.
it's good. It's going to be fun. I think right now, if I book zero, I'll make it. I'm going to be fine through 24. Again, I'm not going to get
Awesome.
rich, but I'm not going to get poor. If I book extra, then maybe I can still afford the hot rod stuff and actually drive cars and
Yeah.
whatnot. But if I book zero, I can make it, and I just
Well,
don't. I want to have a little extra.
Well, and again, here's the whole deal, dude. I left my corporate job in July of last year. Like we had enough runway to make it through the end of the year, and it worked out. Just like it, I know it's going to work out for you. Now, I've
Totally.
gotten a partially day job deal, but it's not something that they need me at. That was
Right.
my biggest thing. I can't be somewhere where they have to have me because we're fixing to kick off a busy season. I'm excited for you, man. So excited for you.
Totally, totally. And I told you before too, I've been driving some DoorDash
Yep.
last couple of days. And I mean, really, that's just, I can just do it when I want. I make a
Yep.
couple of bucks. I'm not getting rich off of that or anything, but
Yeah.
it's just something. And honestly, it gets me out of the house. So I'm not just sitting here going, I wonder if they're going to call me about that announcing job. I don't, they'll call me when
Yep.
they call me. I'm
Yep.
just, it is what it is. But I'm really, really hoping for a couple of, like I said, a couple of really big ones coming up here very
Yep.
soon. And hopefully you guys will see me on lots and lots of stuff.
Yep.
I think pretty much everything I'm going to be on is going to be live streamed, either free or not.
That's great. That's
So
great.
you'll hear or see what's going on. So it'll be cool.
That's awesome. Well, give them one more round of where they can find you, and then we'll let you go.
Absolutely. So YouTube at Adam Dorey, all one word, Dorey. It's right there on their screen. That's Cool Drink on Facebook, and as well as everywhere you get podcasts. And I did make myself a business. So I am Airborne Announcer LLC. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm a paratrooper from
Yep.
way back. So Airborne Announcer, whatever. Here we go. And on top of that, DoorDash. So,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I'm going to run into a bunch of our friends out, and
Yep.
the drag and drive world is in the drag racing world as a whole. I mean, Brett LaSala's at the Mod Nationals, Jim
Yep.
Braun's at the Mod Nationals. I mean, there's a ton of those type of dudes. Zach Yasko is at the Mod Nationals. I mean,
Yep.
whatever. So a ton of these dudes are around, and it's cool because I get to run into my homies at a normal race, and
Yep.
now I've got that 60 seconds that I can talk about them for the entire race, and I've got that stuff down, so we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting. All right, dude. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. You guys are
Yeah.
great, and
Heck
thanks
yeah.
for what you continue to do for the drag drive world. And Eric, dude, congratulations and good luck at Byron.
Thank you. I'm probably going to try to sneak up and see you at Six Summer while I'm there. So
Please do.
kind
I'd
of
love
watch you in
to.
action.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. Love to
That'd
do
be
it.
great. Cool. All
Awesome.
right, dude. See you
Guys,
soon.
thanks so much. Appreciate
See you
it.
guys.
Later. What a fun dude. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
absolutely.
that guy right there is going to make it, man. I truly believe in him and what he's got going on, and all the cool stuff, and wish him nothing but the best success in all of his life. And I know he can make it happen. So
Absolutely.
well, let's jump on here. Dude, the gentleman's agreement.
Yep.
Guys, I don't know if y'all know what this is, but gentleman's agreement means we're going to continue to work hard and spend money and spend time doing this. One, because we love it, but then two, because I know you love it. I've seen the numbers tonight. People are watching. People are making comments. It's been great. Guys, the one thing we ask, hit the follow button, hit the share, hit the subscribe button. Wherever you're watching this, please be following us. We're only about 3,200 away from 100,000 total followers. And guys, we preach all the time how great Drag and Drive is. And we want to spread that to more people. And we just need you in here doing that. So hit that share or hit the share button too, but hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're watching this. Thank you so much for doing that. That is the gentleman's agreement. We can't obviously know if you do it or not, but we would certainly appreciate it if you did. And then let's talk about bringing on our next guest here. He's going to be on here in just a second. He's sitting pretty, looking nice in the garage there in front of his race car. Guys, Mr. Brian Acton is on tonight, and probably one of my, I don't know, favorite people in all of the automotive community, all of the race car friends that I have. Brian is in that top tier of folks. Love him. Love Jay Blanchard, his co-pilot. Jay's not on tonight, but Brian is, and we're going to have a good time with this. Now, Brian, I followed them for a very long time, mainly because I love the 850 class, and this car just set the standard. For me, I'm a Nova guy. You're a Nova guy. This car is so clean, and what I like so much about this car is it can be sitting in a parking lot, and if it was on some Krager SS wheels, you would swear some 70-year-old man drove this thing, and then it can go out and bust off some high 7-second passes. It's been in the 790s before, and 170 miles an hour plus, and then go right back to that same parking lot and just look as cool as ever. I'm telling you, the level of thought that they put into this car, the level of thought they put into their prep and racing is I don't know, almost unmatched especially within the drag and drive community. And they have gone full bore wild for 2024. We'll talk to him in a minute, but they have run a perfect 8500 pass for the first time. They did that at Sick Week 2024. So let's bring in Mr. Brian Acton here. Take his car out. Sir, how are you this evening?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Oh
Good.
man, I'm so excited. I hope I didn't make you blush at all with that, but you're one of my favorite people.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. It was a nice compliment there.
Well, let's do a quick intro for the folks that haven't seen you. Have you ever been on the show?
Yeah.
About a year ago, me and Jay were on
Yeah.
in April of last year.
That's right. As we were leading up to that, oh man, I see your buddy is in the back. Hang on just a second, Jay. We'll bring you on in just a second. So introduce yourself. Tell us just a quick recap of the Nova, and then we'll bring Jay in and have him do the same thing.
I'm Brian Acton. I live in Michigan, and the Nova behind me. I've owned this will be 21 years in 2024. Small black Chevy car for a lot of its life, and then the last 4 years is when it got LS turbo converted, and I've been wanting to do drag and drives since 2005, since Drag Week started. So I'm trying to live out those goals here the last few years. And the car is turbo LS now, and you guys kind of know the rundown. We're shooting to run 850s at these drag and drives, and we're hitting them heavy the last couple of years. We've got 4 this year scheduled, and just trying to hit a few of the bucket list races this year.
Right. Well, one of those races is coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's the Circuit 2024, and Brian is coming back. Brian and Jay are both coming back for free because they were the fastest quarter-mile car on the property.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We had a pretty good year last year. There was some weather conditions there that last day at Mocan, so we too hard. The wind was really wild there on that final day. So we were hoping for a little closer to 850 for an average, but we still had a good event, and we're hoping to do a little better this year. We found some things on the off season with the car, so we're hoping for a good 2024 for all the events, including the circuit, of course.
Right. And so not only did you win the class at the circuit, you also ended up as the quickest quarter-mile regional event car. I mean, pretty crazy at the Drag and Drive Awards too. So it was a great year for you.
Yeah. We had a pretty good year. I mean, we had some mechanical issues at Drag Week and stuff like that for 23, but that was probably a lack of maintenance. But we're always and trying to improve. So yeah, we think we're hoping for a much better, more consistent year in 24, kind of like we had in 22. We had a pretty good year in 2022 with things not so tired and wore out in the car. So
Right. Well, let's bring on your co-pilot, Mr. Jay Blanchard, owner of J Wire Solutions. How are you this evening, sir?
Oh, I look horrible.
That's okay.
So
That's
I could be touch and go. I've got kids that are trying to go to sleep, so we'll see how
Gotcha.
this works out. But
No worries. Well, introduce yourself. Kind of tell the story of how maybe you became the co-pilot of the Nova.
well, Brian was a customer first. Well, let me back up. So Jay Blanchard, you kind of introduced me. I own J Wire Solutions. Brian was a customer first, and then we became friends after that. And I think some people have heard the story where, he was best man at my wedding almost 2 years ago now, and he told me at sick week, he said, "I'm just gonna always drive because I don't know if I could navigate like you navigate." I think he's paranoid about getting in the passenger seat and then having to have me look over and like help him with directions.
Yes. Yeah, I want to do an entire series on co-pilots.
Yeah, I
that'd
think it'd be
good.
awesome.
Because of the navigation side of stuff, because it is very difficult to drive.
there's a lot of behind the scenes that I don't think people realize unless they do drag and drives. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know how some guys do it solo. I mean, you almost have to follow somebody. It's very,
Yep.
it's very complicated, and he'll have 2 or 3 apps going at the same time because we run E85, so we got to find gas stations, we got to find checkpoints, we got to. Yeah, he's multi. I probably couldn't do it, and we'd end up having to backtrack, and it wouldn't.
I felt really bad. I was on the phone with my employee after Thursday at sick week, and we missed a turn. And Brian's got the new 12.3 dash. Well, it's not new, but it's new to us. A 12.3 dash in the car now, and so it's nice because I can be like, we're gonna be on this road for 32 miles. And then he'll be like, "Hey, it's been 34 miles. Did we miss a turn?" I'm like, "Yes, we did."
Yep. Yep. I'm telling you, odometers, man, it's a game changer.
I love
It's a
it.
game changer.
We did 940 miles at sick week, and it's good to know that officially, So
Yep.
that was no more guessing or adding the sheets up. So that was all the driving, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having an odometer in the car can really help, with maintenance too. Like you start thinking about, well, how long has it been since we've, done maintenance to the transmission? You were talking about some of the struggles you had at Drag Week 23, and that was the thing. Like, you run the power glide in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it was fresh in 19. Is that right? Like, you built the whole new setup in 19,
Yeah,
right?
the car pretty much debuted in 19, was the first year. And really into 20, I think we got it running in 19, and then started racing a little bit in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we won the that small tire invitational at Brown County in 20.
Yep.
And that was in the fall, and I think the car had been officially like out for like 2.5 months at that point.
Wow, that's so cool. And having a car and being behind the wheel that much of that same car, I can only imagine it really helps as you go along. You guys were talking. Eric talked about it last week on the news, was about the computer aided or cardboard aided design that you were using to help funnel some air in and things upgrade that you can make as time goes on. What are some of the things you guys have done over the off season here?
Yeah. So what Jay and I always try to do is after an event, we look at, is there anything we can improve on, anything that we can. So if we ever repair anything or maintenance anything, we're always trying to make a better mousetrap. So the car cools fine. It has a Chevy Cruze fan in it out of like a 2012 Chevy Cruze. Moves a ton of air, but it's running a lot. It has a high duty cycle, and we just don't like that. We just feel like that's eventually going to bite us, and it's just hard on stuff. So we wanted to try to focus on a shroud system for the grill, and maybe even something that scoops air from the bottom, like a little air dam or something that we use for driving. And so that's what we're working on right now. And we'd like to see the fan on 50 miles an hour and above not even have to run.
Yeah.
Because that's like how most cars on the road today are. You know, like they have engineers and all their job is just to make sure the car cools. You know, and how OEMs are improving their cafe standards and all those types of things is if the alternator doesn't have to run, they don't run the alternator as hard. And if the alternator doesn't have to run as hard because it doesn't have to run a big cooling fan, then guess what? They're picking up fuel economy. You know, and for the OEMs, like every 1/10 of a mile per gallon counts.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to do that same thing where if it's an 80-degree day outside and we're going 70 miles an hour down the highway, it's like, I don't want the fan on.
Yeah. Well, and again, as much as we're literally taking, these are hot rods, these are real cars that we're driving along here that we're not really built with the intention of doing that, because that car behind you is fast, really, really fast. And so when you start taking a really fast car and you try to put it on the street, it's awesome that you guys are using OEM stuff because it makes it easier. But that Chevy Cruze, it makes 1/10 of the horsepower that car behind you does. So when you start thinking about like airflow and moving things and through the radiator, those things weren't designed for that. So the more you can make it more efficient, and I know that that really triggers Jay's brain to work in how, how much can we make this better? How much better can we make this?
Yeah, ironically enough, like the Cruze fan moves a lot of air.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like.
Well, probably because they're planning they can use a thinner radiator, and then it can it can idle in traffic for hours and hours and hours.
Yep, with a very small radiator. That's good point.
And we say it all the time. The longer you keep a car and the more you have things ironed out, you can do updates like that. Like do your shroud and everything.
Yeah. This stuff is simple in the grand scheme of like. I mean, there's people that are like posting pictures on the Drop the Hammer page, and they're like, "Hey, I got, however many days it is. Think I'm in trouble? Like, no engine, no trans in it." And it's like, we already have an event like done this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay. The last few weeks, Jay's actually I call Jay affectionately my nerd because he's always looking at all this data. But he has figured out how much air CFM will go through my grill at like any given speed. 50 miles an hour. 5,000 CFM can go through that grill if it's not getting around it and above it and below it. So the shrouding, it's way more than my fan flows. So we've got to get that air to go through the radiator, not around it or above it.
Yeah, that's the kind of nerdy stuff that I really like.
Yes.
That's why Jay and I get along so well, is because, I say we get along. He may not like me at all, but I love the way his brain works. I love the engineering side of that stuff of that. And that's what I really feel like having a car is, like Eric said, having a car for a long time. You can test a bunch of stuff. But if you take that car and then you build another one for next year and another one for next year, you're never going to get the full efficiency out of that setup.
Yep.
And I think that's the other thing too, is like when you start to iron out these small details, like that's like what makes you lethal.
Yeah.
Like that's what takes a program, and I'm going to sound arrogant, but that's what takes a program that runs 855 to 860, and every once in a while gets down on the 850 number, and it makes a car go 850, 850, 851. I'll like look at Dustin and Steve last year. I mean, they've ran that combo 3 or 4 years. They know the combo. They know the converter. They know how the car reacts to changes. And they're not coming out, as Eric just mentioned, with a different combo. They're not like, well, I'm going to try a different transmission, or I'm going to change the turbo, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Like, they're making subtle, planned, refined enhancements to improve their consistency.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the other things you guys have worked on during this off season or time between drag week and sick week?
Flux capacitor.
Yeah. So for us, going to Florida from Michigan is very nerve-wracking because, the car had a new transmission. We had changed some other things, and there's no way to test it up here. So we were a little anxious driving 1,200 miles or whatever it is to make sure everything was good to go. But we typically after a drag and drive, the maintenance I do are fluids, transmission flush. I change the oil, obviously. I like to do a compression test just because I want to make sure the engine's healthy. And to me, that's just cheap insurance. But one thing that we did, I don't want to bash on the radiator company, but I've had 2 radiators in the car, and we've had them both leak. And this one that's in it right now has been epoxy repaired, and it's now leaking. We found it after sick week. It wasn't leaking enough to cause a problem on the drives. It just, I noticed some spraying on the piping. So we're gonna, before the circuit, put probably a different manufacturer's radiator in the car just to try something different there.
That's cool.
Actively seeking radiator sponsorship. If there's anybody watching that wants to send one to Brian Acton, aka Fast Act Racing.
What shocks do you guys use on that car?
AFCO.
AFCO's now.
Oh, AFCO makes radiators. Somebody tag Eric Saffel in this.
Oh, Eric Saffel.
Yeah, I actually just, when I was searching, I saw that, Mike, that they do make radiators. Yep.
Yeah.
And we run a dual pass, but it's a Ford Mopar style, so the inlet and outlet are all over on the driver's side, on the same side. So it's a common radiator size. It's not like a custom built deal.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the other biggest benefits to having a car long time is you start to find that kind of stuff. Like you have a standard rate, there's a universal radiator that's in there that you could buy in most places, or most radiator speed shops like Summit are going to keep something like that in stock.
Yeah,
You're not trying to find something weird and goofy. Plus, Chevy Cruze. Do you have the Chevy Cruze shrouding and all that stuff?
I'm on the AFCO website already.
Do you have the Chevy Cruze shroud and stuff, or have you built a shroud?
no, it's all one unit. So the Cruze comes all in its own shroud. The fan, you'd have to really.
Oh.
So I modified the factory plastic shroud to fit my radiator.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been on there since the car debuted as an LS turbo car. The same fan. It's been, and I don't even know, it's a used fan. It wasn't something I even bought new, so it's been pretty reliable.
Yeah. I mean, that's that's the biggest thing with OEM stuff, and you could get that. I guarantee you, every O'Reilly's in the country has that fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what about trailer updates? That's another thing I know.
Mhm.
With you guys having the car together, you can do some updates on the trailer, make things easier, and I know you guys have done some of that already. Have you done anything else with that this off season?
So right before sick week, I don't know if you knew this, Eric, but we kind of opened Pandora's box on that trailer. We had noticed there was some leaks from the original roof, so we were gonna patch it up kind of to get us through sick week, and maybe what we thought was enough. And then I told Jay one day, I said, I think I'm ripping the whole roof off, and he goes, are you sure you want to do that 3 weeks before sick week? And I said, I think that's the right way. So we ripped the whole
I think I actually said you're effing nuts, but I'm
Yeah.
along for the ride.
So, and we put a whole one-piece roof on it, and I mean it's night and day of an improvement. We still need to get it stickered up, which we're going to work on. I don't know if we'll get that done before the circuit, but we want to get our sponsors on it. And then the final thing I want to do is from a appearance standpoint is put some nicer wheels on it, like maybe something off a takeoff RV, some aluminum wheels or something to go along with the new rear billet specialty street wheels. Those look really nice on the car. So we're not rocking the IROC Camaro wheels anymore on the street.
No?
Nope. We've got some billet street lights on the back now, 17. So that makes it look a whole lot better going down the road too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Glenn over at Billet Specialties really hooked us up there.
that's
So,
great. Well, you want to run through the list of folks that you have involved in the car, sponsors and builders and things like that?
yeah. So I mean, obviously Jay from Jay Wire is my main guy with all the wiring, all the tune, all the tuning at the track and the programming, obviously. Then you got Baker Engineering, who does our engines. Capizzi Automotive did the trans, and then he does some of our power tuning. Great guy there, John. Sleep Doctor Mattress Stores. He's a local guy that helps us out. We've got, as I mentioned, Billet Specialties. Low Dollar Motorsports gives us all of our sensors and helps us with all of our shock travel stuff and trick tuning and performance. He built my intercooler, the air-to-air intercooler last year, and really did some nice fabrication work on the front of the car. Lakeshore Custom Suspension. She did all of our shock dynoing and some real technical stuff there that's helped our program. Michigan Critical Power, another local guy that's helped us out. And then couple more Woods Collision, Monarch powder coating, and then Out Front Race Fuels is kind of the main 12 people that probably help us out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really grown the last year, so it's exciting. I think our results are people are starting to notice a little bit, and it's good to help.
Well, let me ask you this, because it happens to Eric and I too. As people come on board, it's got to make you one, stress a little bit, but then two, like that. I would think that makes you guys work harder. It makes you want to perform better. Which makes you want to just do that one next step. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like I said, Jay and I spend a lot of nights at my house out in the shop that we don't necessarily broadcast about. Just always, if we always want to have a better goal from the previous event or the previous outing. We just strive for wins. At this point, because we've completed events, we've podium finished, so we have a couple more things we want to check off the list.
Mm-hmm.
We have a packed schedule this year. We're doing. We've got the circuit obviously here in a few weeks with you. We've got Drop the Hammer in May. We're doing locally with Carl, and then we're doing Six Summer in June, and then Drag Week in September.
Dude, coming for that 850 championship, huh?
Yeah, that'd
maybe.
That'd be the goal.
And then I think the other thing too is, and it's, Brian and I talked about this a couple times. Like we did the AFCO shocks. I mean, we ran. I'll just say it. Like we ran Calvert single adjustables in the rear and some QA1 doubles up front, and the car went 850. And so like we did these AFCO shocks, and then because when we really wanted to lean on the car, we realized those are the limits. And the same thing with the intercooler. And so there's some extensive costs that was spent last year, and the crummy deal between breaking the transmission last year and then the weather at the tail end of Michigan like racing season last year, we didn't even really get an opportunity to go like see the fruits, of our labor.
Mm-hmm.
And so on top of that race schedule, which I also want to add, there's Import versus Domestics, which is a local race that we were on. They run an 850 class that we won last year. That I'm gonna have to push Brian out of the nest because I'm gonna be out of the country that weekend, and so I'm gonna give him some tunes, and hopefully he can double up. And then the other event that we did last year that we'll return for is the Roadkill Nights in August. So really you stitch all that together and we have 8 or 9 events.
Yeah.
Over the course of January is very early, obviously, but then you take the remainder of those events and you stack them all in between April and September. Yep. And then all of a sudden you have a major event every month, or every 3 weeks. Over the course of, again, a Michigan racing season that can be done the second week in October.
Wow. Yep. You guys are nuts, man. I love
it. And we might even do it in April. There's some private track rentals that are local track, US 131, where they radio prep. And Jay and I really want to, even if it has to be a Tuesday, we want it to be somewhat kind of boost weather, but we're going to keep that on the radar because we want to see what these upgrades net. We really want to go 499 to the 8th. That's really the number one goal. The quarter mile time will correlate with if we get that done. So we've been 5:10, but wheelies and just all kinds of issues with launch stuff that these shocks will tame. So that's something we want to try to squeeze in there and just see if we can see the results of all that time and money invested in the shocks and intercooler.
And so why as a 499 goal to the 8th? Is that just a ET goal, or is that so you can be easier on the back half, or what?
No, that's I'll answer for Brian. So the car has been 798 and it's never going to go 699. And so to go 510 and then to be able to go 499, it's just kind of it's that
Gotcha.
It's that echelon. The car's never going to go 399. I mean, I say never. I mean, again, actively seeking sponsorships for billet twin turbo LS engines. But it's a milestone, to go 490s.
Yep.
The car's been.
If it was something that was, because if you can go that fast early, then it's not as hard on the backside, or but to go 499 8th in drag and drive trim, I would think that's getting after it.
Yeah. So last year, the fall of 22, when the car went 510, It was at drag week weight.
Wow.
It was 3260 because we took some pieces and parts off from it that would have made it not drag week legal, and then we had to hang 80 pounds back on the front end of the car,
Wow.
of lead to get it to not wheelie. So it was 3260 race weight when it went 120 to 60, 510 to the 8th, and 798 out the back.
Wow.
But the other thing too, and like we've talked about this, I think maybe in this podcast, or I know for certain, like sitting in the trailer and stuff, like a car like Brian's, you're not going to go 120 on probably 20 to maybe even 40% of the tracks at any one of these given events. And so you've got to get a number that you can consistently go, and you just need to know how to march the car out, right? I mean, if Brian's car goes 850, I know every incremental down to what the 1,000-foot incremental needs to be in order to like make the car go 850 something. Like when I saw 130 come up on the scoreboard at Bradenton, like I was like, this is going to be right in the ballpark. Like I can tell within like the first 60 feet if we're close.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, real quick, let me take a break here just a second and thank our folks here. Guys, can't do it without you guys. Thank you so much to our race car friends that are out there. Hit the share button while we got these guys on. This is important. Ask questions in the comments. Let us know what you want to know from probably one of the most successful 850 class racing out there. And then thanks to our sponsors as well: Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cams, Performer Built Transmissions, Sweet Patina, and Racing Gym Classifieds. All right, sorry. Back to our regularly scheduled program here.
So one of the cool things I thought was that one of our sponsors that you just mentioned, Car Chains, you guys are running one of their dash inserts now, correct?
Yeah, I do a little bit of work with Corey on some of his other stuff, like his USB ports and whatnot. And he's a Michigan-based guy, so that's pretty cool. And then so I kind of like poked and prodded at him and said, hey, do you have this? I don't see it on your website. And he's like, I can get that. So I think we were actually like the first ones to install one in Brian's car.
That's cool. Yeah. I was digging through Facebook there trying to find it, but I couldn't find it on the Fast Act Racing. So we need more pictures over there, fellas.
Hey, we do our dangdest to try and put something out every week, if not every like 12 days.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like our limit.
Yeah. I can understand you guys are busy guys, and that's the way it works sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Because I feel like there's some nights when I go like, hey, I can make 4 posts tonight, but then like no one wants to see 4 posts in the course of like 2 hours, like dude, you got to try and like spread it out a little bit.
That is one of the biggest struggles. Well, as you're watching the 130 60 foot, you're watching the 8th mile incremental, what's going through your mind? Like, are you like, we're fixing to run an 00 here, we're fixing to run a something? I mean, because you guys have ran several 850 3s, 6s, 9s, things like that.
We've also gone 498 too many times. So the car in, I'll say, competition form has gone 8,500 twice.
That's awesome.
Last year at Import versus Domestics, the car went 8,503. We were 3/10,000ths off on the 4th digit. Martin happens to display the 4th digit. We went 8,501 at Midwest Drags in 22, 8,503 twice at Midwest Drags in 22, went 8,504 at Sick Week at the end of the week. I feel like the car went on a stringer run in like 8,508 too at one point, where I was like, we did this like 3 times this week. Like, what's going on with that? But I don't get to see the 8th mile. Like generally most things will show like your reaction time, and they'll show your 60 foot like up on the board. So I don't actually get to see that. But for us, it's like 130 and some change. 545 is kind of our 8th mile number. So it'll be interesting when we have to go 550 because we actually slow the car down a little bit for your stuff. And then here's Dustin. Did someone say 850? Yes. 850. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Martin also has 1,000-foot clocks. So like if Brian's car goes 710 to the 1,000 foot, like that is the number to go 850 something.
Wow.
And it's cool to like be able to lay time slips against each other. we had a really good one. Brian, what did it run at Virginia last year? I think in that test session on that Sunday at Midwest Drags, we went left lane and right lane, and the thing ran like to the 1,000th on every incremental and within like a 1/10 of a mile an hour out the back.
Wow.
On like a 8.5, it might have been like an 8.52 or something like that, but it was like to the thou on every incremental on 2 different lanes, like 4 hours apart from each other.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's
So what was
pretty intense.
so what was your reaction when you first saw it? And I know Jay, you obviously saw it first, and then Brian, you probably saw it once you got your time slip.
Yeah, I mean, but we have been hunting for that, especially in a drag and drive event. Like Jay said, we were close at a heads up 850 race. Don't count the 4th digit, but to finally get in a drag and drive, I mean, I kind of I had a moment down there. I stopped after the time booth and pulled off, and just kind of reflected because we've worked so hard for that, and it was good to get it. This Sick Week is one of my top 3 races I wanted to win in my career. I like the orange helmet. I mean, that's really a cool trophy. And so, we entered Sick Summer kind of as a plan B for that reason. If we didn't get it done at Sick Week, we still wanted in this year to have a shot at a helmet. So, now we can drive hopefully back with both wearing it like Guido. Driving from Florida wearing them, but I mean that's the goal. But I feel like kind of the monkey's off our back after winning Sick Week.
Yeah, and that's what Jay was saying earlier too. And I have those up. So you run the 8500 on Tuesday. James Tall runs the 8500 on Monday. Sets the week tone right there. Everybody was like, what the heck? You run an 8500 on Tuesday. Everybody loses their mind, and then you run an 8504 on Friday. I mean, dude, it's a heck of a week.
Yeah, Jay and I were kind of, just some guys had some trouble and stuff. It was kind of a weird Sick Week because by Thursday, we needed to run like an 858 to stay in first place. It was just unheard of. Usually that's not how it works. And then by Friday, believe it or not, guys, by Friday, an 871 would have won it for us.
Wow.
And so
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm telling Jay, I'm like, I want to run 860. And he's like, I
don't know how to do that.
Because I don't want to go under, I don't want to go 849 and then have an oil down and we have to wait.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. And I forget, we went close to an 860, maybe an 862 on our first run. And then I told Jay, I said, let's lock it up and then we can make 3 runs and, let's see what we can do. And he did, we went 855 on the second run, which was, again, really not necessary, but we were just trying to, hone in on what we want to work on for 2024. And made a couple more tweaks and got that 8504. So that was a sweet way to end it for us for sure.
Yeah. Well, and again, it just backs up what you've done. You didn't make a lucky pass.
Exactly what we wanted to say.
Yeah.
We didn't. And we've done this long enough. I think the guys we race against probably know that,
but sometimes you just got to prove it.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's no different than, like Dustin and Steve. I mean, by Friday of Drag Week last year, they didn't need to go a 5-0 to win the event, but they wanted a 50 at every track, and that's awesome. I'd be doing this. We'd be doing the same thing. So So
yeah, absolutely crazy. And I hope Dustin's still watching this because I would love to have him and Steve on because the Dustin and Steve team is really cool. And then I'd like to hear some of the Steve and Randy Seward story too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they would be a fun grouping of a couple dudes to have on.
Yeah.
So we'll start working towards that for sure.
Well, but he's an interesting guy. I mean, Steve will tell you that too. Yeah, he sure is. He spends a lot of time in his car on the laptop. He's definitely all in.
Yeah. I don't know how he did it a couple of those days. Somebody said he was in there for like an hour after he made his pass, looking at something. It was warm. I don't know.
It was warm is a polite way to put it.
Yeah, he wears his fire pants the entire day, even driving on the road. Never takes them off. Like, I'm like, wow, that's got to be I couldn't do that, but
yeah, no, I'm out on that for sure. Well, I'll tell you, we've had some fun. What are some of the goals for the circuit coming up?
So Jay and I, we always are. We really think that our transmission last year, there was, not to get off on a total tangent, but last year we had some head scratchers where Jay and I would make a tune-up change and the car would slow down when it should have picked up, or
Yep.
pick up when we were trying to slow it down. Just real bizarre stuff that we struggled with last year. So, with everything fresh and new on some of the critical components, I mean, we want to set the bar high this year, and I mean, we'd like to come out of the circuit with, a low 8.50, 8.51 average after the 6 time slips. That's our goal.
Yeah. That's awesome.
The 8th mile day at Ozark would be a little interesting, as we heard you talk about that earlier, but
Yep.
we have enough data that we can probably figure that out. I mean,
yeah, the biggest thing, it's the first time we've had an 8th mile day, so I was trying to figure out how to do it. And so, the calculator is the biggest deal, right? Is how do you set that? And like y'all's car would typically, like I'll use Boo Quamso as an example. He said his car, if he was doing the math, it's a 153 average.
Yep.
Well, Jonathan Stonecipher on the other side's like NA stuff's like 156. I'm like,
And Brian's car, the way that we run it, Brian's car's like 156 also.
gotcha.
Like if you do it, like if so, you go 545 and 850, it's like 1558.
Yeah.
But then you see a lot of turbo cars that are the opposite, but like we're not really like leaning on Brian's car like with this aggressive boost ramp. I mean, the boost ramp on Brian's car, like our dome control is all in by like 1.2 seconds. So like the car's making as much power 2 seconds into the pass as out the back. And there's this whole dissertation that could be gone on about going back to the running the car at 130 or whatever that consistency is for your 60-foot time and things like that. And I just want to re-emphasize what Brian said. I mean, there was a time, I think at Midwest Drags, we literally made 2 passes within like 25 minutes of each other, and I put like another pound of boost in the car, and the car slowed like 0.15.
Wow.
Like it went from like an 851 and changed to like 853, and I'm like, Brian's like, "Are you sure you went the right way?" And I'm like, "Homie," I'm like, "Come on."
Yeah. Yeah, I up arrowed.
Yes, I hit up arrow.
Head scratch.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But we saw some really good things at Sick Week. We only went under 1 time, and I don't remember how many passes for the week, but that's probably a record for us. There's been days we went under 3 times at one track. So
yeah, I think I remember some of those days.
Yeah,
I would rather not.
Yeah.
So so hopefully, I mean, you need to get more than one event under your belt, but it looks promising, and we'll see how the circuit goes, because again, it's still winter here in Michigan, so there's no way to test. So my car it's still got bugs on it from Florida behind me. I haven't even cleaned it.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how people live in places like that, man. We started racing here last weekend.
Yeah, I wish we were. So
yeah.
So yeah, we're excited to get back on the track and see if we see the consistency we saw in Florida, and we're hoping to lower the bar, at least for Jay and I personally. I mean, in this 850 class, Jay and I talked about it. It's getting tougher every year. I mean, what Dustin and Steve did last year at Drag Week, I mean, that may never get beat. I mean, so you can't.
I don't know how it. I mean, like it's intense.
Yes. So if you're racing against the Aaron Schaefers and there's 5 or 6 guys, right? There's Rick and there's Alex. I mean, you could name all the top kind of 5 to 8 guys around the country, and you have one bad day, you run an 853 or an 854. I mean, you could be done. As far as for the win.
Yeah.
The guys just don't make mistakes, so you have to run 50s and 51s to stay in the hunt. I believe. I mean, that's what it's come down to.
All right, so this is probably a deep subject, but we'll end on this for y'all's time here. Is the competition level going to make this not fun anymore? Like that high level of racing to be in the 850 class, is it going to make it not as much fun anymore?
Hey, Jay and I've talked about a similar topic. I mean, Jay and I've had that conversation because there just is nowhere to go. I feel like in some ways we're not able to showcase, all of what we know, because we're not running my car all out. We're kind of handicapped to so many variables that it makes it tough. And when this class was first formed, 20 years ago, we've talked about this, the winning car and street race wasn't anywhere near cage certification. They were
It was
running
like 10 years ago, or in 13, I think the guy that won it went 869. Second place was like 890, and third place was like 920.
Yeah.
So, those guys were winning and based on their overall, they were running their cars all out, and the fastest guy was getting the win. And then just technology kind of went past the rule package really to make it an index. And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and it's been that way for 6 or 8 years probably, where guys are running right down on the number. I mean, I remember watching Drag Week as a spectator in 2016. I was at Cordoba, I think, and they used to do this crazy eights thing on the final day. I don't know if you guys ever knew that, but they would let these 850 streetcar guys run their cars all out on the final day. And the guys were running sevens like Dotson, and there's a couple of guys from Texas that had 7-second capable cars in 2016 that were turning them back to run 850.
Wow.
So it's been that way for 8 years, where guys are just detuning them, but you do get reliability. I mean, this engine we're running, let's just say 20 pounds of boost, and it's you're only asking maybe 70% out of the engine, so you do get some reliability that way. You're not running this thing right to the full tilt, but I think that the chances are kind of on their own league, but if you look at sick week guys, there's been a different winner every year, and it's good guys. Corella won it the first year. Obviously, Schaefer won it last year, and we won it this year. I mean, so it's basically, if you don't, you can't make a mistake. That's what it's come down to. If you have an off day, then you got to. And Jay and I've been in that spot, So
and I think the other thing too is like when there's the gamesmanship side of it too, and we keep talking about Dustin and Steve. I mean, they've won it. They've won Drag Week, the grandfather of them all, 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And they've won 850 something. And I'm not taking away from that at all, but there really wasn't anybody that was challenging them after like the third day. Yeah. So there's a stress aspect as a tuner, driver, nervous about listening for every last squeak, bump, and rattle in your car, that when you've got a cushion, like, I'm going to be a little bit freer on the keyboard. Like if I just went out and went 851 with a 5, and I know that like puts me like a tenth ahead of the next guy, like I'm going to be really free on the keyboard. Like I'm going to go try and go 849 with a 9, And so, like, after we lock it up on Friday, I'm like, well, I'll just throw some boost at it and see what the thing wants to do. You know what I mean? Like import versus domestics last year, like we went 851 with a 2. We were number 1 qualifier after the first round. I'm like, well, we can't get any worse, like, so let's see what this thing will do. Right. So we go 8,500, and so there's an aspect of that where setting yourself up in that driver's seat, right, where like there's the competitive edge, because these cars also have to drive 1,000 miles in the street, right? And you can't have electrical problems, and you can't have this, and you can't have all these things potentially come up.
Yeah.
And I think when you've got somebody kind of barreling down your backside, like there's stress associated with that. Yeah. And it's cool to see that 3 different people have won sick week, Yeah. And Sick Summer in its infancy, let's hope there's a new winner at Sick Summer this year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's right. I know that's right.
Because we haven't been there, and we have aspirations of doing what we do, Yep. And so I think that's kind of like where the competitive spirit comes out. Like Brian and I talked about running pro DYO. Yeah. Like dialing the car to 855 or something like that. So we've got a little room to go under. And then hell, after like the third day, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're like 006 spread. I'm like, I'm glad we're running 850. Like,
Yep. That's exactly right.
But kind of back to your original question, Mike. Here's what I think. I think that is a concern about how competitive it's getting, but I also say the car count is still high. So at Sick Week there was 22 cars, I believe, in Sixth Street Race, and then they've got that 275 class that had I think more cars than that.
31.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say, hold on, I'll pull it up again. But I think there were like 40 something cars total in a 850 class.
and
yeah,
so,
47 total cars.
Yep. So I think that is what the promoter guys need to probably pay attention to. If I'm Week or if I'm Tom or whatever, is if that car count starts to dwindle, maybe that's when you got to go. Is something got to change? But I think it's popular. It's almost one of the higher, other than the Street Eliminator stuff and all that. It's one of the most packed classes still.
Yeah, I love it. And it would have been really fun to see everybody duking it out with one class, like 47 cars in the 6 race class would have been really, really cool. And I saw Stephanie or Jennifer, I can't remember her name, talking about Dean. They were the other team that ran an 850. We'd never had that before, but there's 8500 cars run the same week, and they would have ran Sixth Street Race if they had had a better understanding of the rules. And so they're coming for Sixth Summer, so they'll be there with you guys. So going to be a ton of competition. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And they were in Pro Day. They were in Pro DYO.
Yeah.
Okay.
They went 8,500 on the third day.
Jennifer.
On the fifth day,
I'll remember it from now on.
You do that every time.
Every time. It's something mental block. I think I called her Stephanie, and that locked in my brain. So Jennifer. Yep.
So.
Yeah, pretty fun. Well, guys, I want to say thank you so much for spending almost an hour with us here and hanging out. I can't wait to see you guys. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make the Sixth Summer deal work. I will be there for at least a couple days, either to start it or end it. But Eric is going to try and be there possibly the whole week. That's kind of his anniversary as well. So anniversary night or her birthday? Anniversary.
Yep. Dude, her birthday is the circuit. Our anniversary is Sixth Summer. So I'm 0 for 2 right now.
0 for 2.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Well, I'll definitely see then, and then we're going to see you here in a couple weeks for the circuit.
Yeah, definitely.
And Drag Week.
Yep.
So
hey, Mike, are you doing the Midwest Drag Series, Pro Mod Series at Martin? Is that on your list?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to come down there and harass you for that then.
I know you're going to have to come down there and harass me.
That's gonna be twice in 1 month. I'm gonna see you,
dude.
Then.
Hey, so this is off topic, and we probably shouldn't even talk about it. But I was really I was trying to figure out if I could do a drag and drive exhibition at that event. But that's still early in the works, and the hard part is like 4 to 8 cars is that's right in the meat of when everybody needs to have their cars ready for other events. So I don't know. We're talking. I'm still talking to Keith and Daniel about it. So
okay.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. We'll,
there's a contingent of people we could get to put that together.
Well, the reason that track worked was, 100% because you guys are close. Like that was my whole thought process behind that. Is could I at least you guys know a lot of folks in that area. Obviously to be a drag and drive type stuff, but I think we could make it work pretty easy. I just need to get some sponsorship and get some money for folks to win. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, okay. There's us and the Deal Brothers, and there's a contingent of guys from like the north up in Grand Rapids. They're going to be doing Carl's event. That would be some good additional exposure for them. And
Tim Flanders won Sixth Summer last year. He's local.
Yep, Tim's local to there too. Yep.
There's a ton of us. Yeah.
Okay, quit talking to me about it.
Let's do it. Come on.
Damn it! I know. I need to. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I love you. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. See you guys.
Thanks,
guys.
Good.
Bye. Dude, what a great show tonight.
Yeah, that was really good.
I'm telling you, I love Brian and Jay. I say it all the time. Those dudes are my homies, and Jay's nerdiness and his brain power is really, anytime I have a technical question, he's the guy I go to. And you guys can follow them at Fast Act Racing on Facebook. They really do post quite a bit. I was just razzing them a little bit there about that stuff, and I can't wait to see them out again this year. Again, they won the first event of the season, Sick Week. They won the Sixth Street Race, which is an 850 limited class, and they're coming hard for a repeat at the circuit. Be one of the first times we've had a repeat champion in the class.
Yeah.
I know they are going to have a little more competition this year, and of course, we're going to a new track this year, so we're not only racing at Moken like we were last year. We're adding in Ozark Raceway Park there in Springfield. So 3 days of racing, 300 miles, dude. We're going to have some fun on Route 66, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you
Those,
so much.
those I
Go
was
ahead.
just gonna say real quick, those were the first guys I saw when I came down to the circuit. So
That's awesome.
eight almost 9 hour drive all the way down there. I pull in the parking lot and they're already hanging out in the parking lot and walked
Yep.
up, and I've talked to them every time I've seen them since. So they
Yep.
are truly a great couple of dudes.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of fun there. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Again, we can't do this without you guys. We can't. Our race car friends, I have some stuff planned that should hopefully announce next week or the week after for
Yep.
our race car friends. That is going to be a lot of fun. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, who I hope is going to be on next week. I'm hoping Driven's going to be on. Car Change 3D, Howard's Cams, Performer Built Transmissions, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Can't do it without them. And dude, we got to have Molly on. We got to have
Yep.
Eric and George on to talk about some of the stuff they got going on. All right, guys. See you soon. Thanks a bunch. Bye.
Yep. We'll see you Saturday morning.
Yep.